We're not doing the live, just recording. Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the Upper Darby Shade Tree Commission meeting. It's September 5th, 2024. I'm Evan Hunt, and this is Eric Burns. Mike Atwell, the other commissioner, could not make it this evening. And then Bill Kaplan from Upper Darby Leisure Services is also here, as well as a couple members of the public. So thanks for coming. We'll just run through our agenda real quick, then get to any public comments. So first on the agenda is just approving the August meeting minutes, but I think we forgot to take minutes at the August meeting, unless you did. All right, so we'll look at the recording and take minutes, and then I guess take care of that at the next meeting. Okay. So next on the agenda is just a few notes on the fall tree planting. We got a few container trees from PHS, and I know we wanted to discuss some more locations to put those trees. We're not buying any trees from PHS. None of their like bare root trees this year. So I guess I should tell Bonnie and you, because the tree tenders are gonna have to pick up their trees again. Any bare root trees that you guys buy. So I'll send a note to Bonnie. But yeah, so for the locations that we have picked out already, we still have to, we're meeting with, I think Joe Martin next week in Public Works, and we should get more details about these locations, but we want to do a couple of replacements on 69th Street, a few trees on Addingham Trail right near the house, a couple of trees at Durmond, I think 4 trees at Huey Avenue Park, and then there were a couple other locations that came up. So I guess Steven brought these up. So one was the municipal lot on Long Lane. Do you want to say anything about that? I'm sorry to just put you on the spot, but
The only thing I can say about planting on the municipal lot is it's a difficult situation. The planting area is an area that's built up by brick walls on either side. One side faces the eastern sun, west side is on the other side, and it gets really warm. So whatever we're going to plant there, we have to be able to take into consideration that those roots heat up, got to water it a lot. If you don't, whatever you get there is going to suffer. So that needs to be a consideration.
Is it like a
Also-
raised planter? Is that what you said by the brick on either side?
It's brick on either side, built up about 3.5, 4 feet, and it's about 4 feet wide.
Oh, okay.
Runs almost the length of the block. And as a direct result, it heats up like crazy during the summer, and there's no easy access to water. So you'd have to bring a truck with a tote or something like that to be able to get it watered. Right now, Keffer has been watering it weekly, but in the long run, somebody else has to take this over. And if you're going to plant something new, and a couple of trees have really suffered there, 1 or 2 have died, you're going to have to consider what you're going to put in there. The other thing is on the Long Lane side, you have power lines. So whatever you're going to put in there has to be fairly small. On the Radbourne Avenue or Radbourne Road side, I think there might be some light lines that might be telecommunication lines. It's not as important, so you need to consider it. And it's set up sort of like a triangular lot, so the one side has an alleyway. So it's probably the best place for trees to survive, but not the best place to show them off in somebody's back alley.
yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, this parking lot, it's on Long Lane. It's owned by the township. Yeah, there's like, I think 2 sides have like these weird like raised planters. And there's a few trees in them now, but like they don't do well because it dries out so much and they just get like beat up. I don't know if you ever like planted stuff.
Oh, in a raised planter?
Yeah.
There's several
No,
dogwoods.
I've
That
seen it.
situation that he's saying, it needs
Yeah.
water.
It's
Yeah.
which one?
Yeah, you're not
There
gonna,
was there's some right along.
not
the
many
front
things
that
that
are real
don't need water.
and planted
Yeah,
trees
it's
all
tough.
over
Weed trees.
Which are about the
Alfalfa.
hardiest drought-resistant tree you can get out
Domestic.
there, so they're not making.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there a lot of people have requested trees at this place. I was there like last year to check it out. It's just it's hard. I don't know. Do you know, Bill, if there's any like plans, the township has any plans for this parking lot in the future?
I don't know, but I'll find out.
That would be helpful. Yeah, because it's kind of just like a mess now. It's hard to put trees in there at the moment.
I think it might be Clinton, I may be wrong, but Clinton and Radbourne are the two streets that bisect, that hit Long Lane there, and the parking lot is just on the other side. But it'd be great to enhance the way the place looks.
Yeah,
because,
I
It doesn't
agree.
look that great, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen like this fall or anything, but we'll have to look into that more.
Yeah, and I don't think the shrubs are necessarily a good thing, because shrubs fill that, they grow pretty well there, I think. The problem is that you block vision of what's going on in the parking lot or what's behind it. You know, I think trees would work visually better, but getting them to survive there. And somebody is actually trying to make them survive, and it's still tough.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm actually gonna skip to number 4 down here because this was like another planting location. We could just talk about now. It was the Nailers Run Trail along Chapman Park. So that was another place that a lot of people have requested the township put some trees in. It's adjacent to it's adjacent to Chapman Park. Yeah. So I guess the problem with that area is I don't think the actual trail is owned by Pico, right? It's not owned by the township.
That is correct. Yeah, and they're very limiting. That's what we were kind of just talking about. They
Oh, yeah.
limit the trees. It's really only shrubs because it's underneath the power line.
This is the power lines.
Yeah, and they need like access to like drive their trucks in there. And since it's not like I don't think the Shade Tree Commission can do too much about it because it's not like township property. I don't even know how you go about like getting Pico to put stuff in there.
From everything I understand, Pico forbids trees being planted under their power lines. I imagine if you put a red bud in that only grew 15 to 20 feet and they didn't know about it, they wouldn't object. About 60 feet up to the power line, but they don't want to have anything arc down from a power line. So if you get something up 30 feet, 35 feet, there's always the possibility you get an arc down. So they don't want anything there of that size. Now, could you put shrubs? You probably could put shrubs. There are a couple places where the power lines, especially at the junction where the Nailers Run Trail and the Cardigan Spur break open, there's a little area there where there are no power lines directly above you, but it's a small area. So I think shrubs are an alternative, and not necessarily all along, but maybe at Chapman Park, especially a place where you might be able to get water to something. You know, along the trail itself, most of the access points are blocked off. Usually the township has brought a loader in, put a big rock so that, you know, no trucks can go across this. You don't want anybody out there for that reason. So we wouldn't be able to get a truck out there with a tote to water anything, not easily anyway. But right along Chapman Park, along the fence, et cetera, easily could put shrubs in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like planting stuff in Chapman Park actually. So it's the township property. There's lots of space there for trees.
Yes, there is.
I think it's far enough away from the power lines.
And a few that we did plant a couple years ago have passed on.
Yeah.
There is some room to put some things in, but it is completely open, much like that municipal lot on Long
Yeah.
Lane. It's going to get sun all day long. So unless you're going to do something about watering it, especially the first 2 years or the first 3 years after you put it in, you know, you're asking an awful lot for that tree to survive.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask Joe Martin and if his guys can take a couple of trees from the nursery, replace some of the ones that died, and get them watered.
Okay.
See if he's interested in that. Yeah, those are the trees that we put in. And yeah, that's the trail he's talking about, yeah. You have any thoughts on it after checking it out?
I mean, there's plenty of room. I don't know how close it let you, if you could just put a little fence. in.
I have a comment about the trail,
Especially-
potential things.
Yeah,
plan
go ahead.
along. You can get crepe myrtles that grow in drought. I planted a few on the median. They even got mowed over and they came back up during 100-degree weather. And they come in different sizes. You can get smallest crepe myrtles. I mean, because you want to, I saw a picture of that trail after they made it, and it's just this asphalt strip, and you kind of need to beautify it for the people that live there. So something like some crepe myrtles would be good. And the fringe lilacs are also highly drought resistant, the tough trees, and they're both small. So it might be something Pico wouldn't mind. Just something to think about. And you can get crepe myrtles as little cuttings. You don't have to buy a tree and just stick it in and it will root and take up. You may also get a few people that live out there that will sort of watch them. You know, some of the people that live out there would like to see something planted along there, and it only takes a couple people to bring a little water out every now and then. It's something to think about.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I also heard someone told me recently that the crepe myrtle has like a pest issue. You know about that?
A pest issue? I have
Yeah,
crepe
it's like
myrtle.
a scale.
No, mine doesn't, and the ones in my neighborhood don't.
Oh,
They're different. One thing I've noticed, they get a lot of bees come on the flowers. They get birds eating the little berries, so they're actually nice that way. That's something to think about.
okay. I have to look at the scale too. Someone told me like they weren't planting them as much because there's a.
They were getting scale. I had, ones I planted got some scale on. It was only a little bit on one of them. We're watching it. Planted 4 in the early spring. One of them had scale. None of them flowered. Which was odd.
Okay. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Bill, or the trail thing, or
No, I was just looking up the creek.
sound? Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
As long, as running, we can talk, I think Stephen mentioned fence between the park and the houses. Fence between the park and the trail are great spots.
Along the trail, the township cuts.
Y'all could use the microphone if you want to talk. Just there's some people. I think guys Bonnie's watching. Yeah, right. Just
Along the trail, the township cuts about a 4-foot wide ribbon, keep weeds down, et cetera. But there are a number of areas just beyond that 4-foot ribbon where some shrubs can be planted to fight off the invasives that are coming in there. I mean, you've got everything that's growing along there. Japanese knotweeds there, porcelain berries there. Mile a minute is growing like crazy this time of year along there. So if you have anything that can fight some of that stuff off, I think you're better off. Still let the township cut that 4-foot ribbon on either side of the trail. Keep it looking neat, but you can plant some stuff behind it. That's my guess. But then you'd still have to get some water to it, at least for the first couple years.
gotcha. Thanks. We might as well just stay up here because the other big thing we wanted to talk about was the expanding the tree nursery.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that now?
Sure.
Good. Thanks.
So I gave one to each of you guys. I'll give one to Bill so they know what I'm talking about. And so the nursery right now is 40 feet by 60 feet, and the township altered the holes for us and set up the posts several years ago, 3 years ago. Then they put the fencing up around for us and built a gate. And what you can see is in the top sheet, there's a picture of the original nursery at the top, and the gate is off to the right-hand side. We are full. We've gotten ourselves, rightly or wrong, we've gotten ourselves a reputation as a place where trees can be stored. I guess there are 30 tree tenders groups in Philadelphia area and more in Jersey, but none of them have a nursery of their own. We do. So when there's stuff left over or PHS doesn't have a place to put it, they offer it to us And we got 15 just this past early August, late July, whatever it happened to be. And we know we can get them out. We also get donations from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation of seedlings, come in flats of 25 or so. We also have purchased a number of other things, and we just have very little room left in the nursery. So what we're proposing is to expand to some degree. So if you look at the bottom of that top sheet, there's about a 20% increase in the size. And what we'd also like to do is if we increase the size coming down the chart, that comes closer to where the creek is, we'd like to put twin gates that can open so that we could back a truck up, so we could put something in, take something out more easily, rather than from the gate on the side, which is a 4-foot wide gate, and we can get a lot of stuff in, but not nearly as much as we can get a truck in there. What we would need is, I guess it's 8 4x4s, 9-foot length, and if we could get the holes augered, that would be great. Now, we have already applied for a grant for a number of the pieces that would be necessary for this. We can auger holes. Augering them down 3 feet taxes somebody who gets to be my age. But if the township could see its way to helping us auger those holes, we can even set them up. We can plumb them and put them in the ground. And we could make the gates so it wouldn't be too much of a problem. What you're looking at, the dimensions are 16 feet coming down towards the creek, and again, 40 feet wide. The gates would be, each would be 5 feet wide, so it's a 10-foot opening. And it would greatly increase what we could handle. We've got plenty now, but we think we can do a lot more.
Yeah, I think it would help a lot, especially with the truck access. I think that would make things a lot more convenient. Could you tell us a little more about the grant that you guys applied for? Like what
Well,
grant it
Bonnie
was?
applied for it. It was a $2,000 grant.
Yeah.
And it was for, it was an environmental grant, I believe. She hasn't heard anything from it, and she thought that the initial date for awarding the stuff might be September 1st. So she's not thinking that we're going to win it, but she's still hopeful. I don't know the details on it.
Okay, and it was
She can-
specifically for like expanding the nursery.
And a number of other things. We applied for an additional 100-foot hose. We asked for another transfer pump. We asked for, it escapes me now. I gave Bonnie a list of things, and John Kowalski, who's been helping us, asked for a couple of other things.
Okay, so yeah, if that comes through, really you're just like trying to get Public Works to auger the holes,
I think that would be the biggest help.
the big ask.
I mean, if they
Okay.
wanted to set the post, look, I'm not going to argue with them. You know, it's another heavy-duty job, but we can do it.
Okay, if the grant doesn't come through, is there still a way to do this project?
Well, you know, the tree tenders are still fundraising, you know, and there is also the possibility that a combination of groups, Upper Darby Rain Gardens, Upper Darby Trails, Upper Darby Tree Tenders will come together to form a 501c3, be able to receive donations and work to do some things. So we can do some additional fundraising, so we have some additional money for things.
Gotcha. The other question I had was, so we're making it, what was it, 16 feet, 16 feet closer to the creek.
Yes.
Did you think it was maybe getting too close to the creek? I feel like the nursery is already pretty close to the creek.
Well, I'd have to give you the whole thing. If you go on Google Maps, the nursery can now be seen. So you can actually look down from satellite view and see how close the nursery is to the creek now. The exact distance, I would guess, is about 80 feet. So
Okay.
if we came 16 more feet, we'd still have 60 feet to get to the creek. It's an estimate, but you can get it pretty close on Google Maps, or Google Earth, probably even better.
Okay, thanks. Do you have any questions or concerns, Bill?
Yeah, we might need to now bring in, planning, so we can work with because now you're talking access where they use that, the crossing,
The Ford?
to get to the back end of, the park.
Yeah.
And so the public works uses that as well.
Yeah.
But we may need to get a meeting with, the CAO, just because now you're building in more of a presence.
Okay.
At this point, I think, Leisure Services would be willing to kind of work with you on a proposal. You already know we fully support, the nursery, but since you're expanding, I think it may need a little more,
Okay.
with we could work on that proposal.
The planning meeting's this Monday, I believe.
Yes,
I-
I think it is this one you have to check.
I could raise it at the meeting, and they could ask me for what details they need from
I
me.
I think that might be good, or if you want to do a little informally right now, just to kind of throw out some feelers, I think that would be
Okay.
helpful.
Okay, that sounds good. Let me write that down.
While we're asking for the pie in the sky, could they get running water and electric there? So-
I'm working on electricity in a couple of parts, so put it on the list.
All right.
What would be helpful too is a write-up about the nursery. Do you have that? The history and.
Yeah, I guess it's also worth mentioning that when we put the original proposal together for the nursery, it also included something about expanding the nursery. So that was all like kind of part of the plan. Did you?
I think that would be helpful.
Because she's applied for grants, she's probably had a.
Yeah, and just
Sure.
a paragraph, I'm not talking,
Gotcha.
is expanding, and I think it's, you were saying, pretty much a gem, in the area. So, it'd be worth going that
Well, it's really a rough gem, believe me. I'm there frequently, so. But it provides access to a lot of things. So the Rain Garden Group is able to come in and get things there. Several Rain Garden Groups have actually come to us for shrubs that we had that they needed. So, and trees too. Prospect Park came to us. They asked for trees that we had. Number of other people have come. So
The municipality in Prospect Park or the community?
the municipality.
That would be helpful to get those letters.
Okay, I think I have a thank you from Paul Johnson, who's the head of their facilities.
Do you have anything, Eric? Any questions?
The fence in between, the old fence, is that getting removed or is it just that dash section?
Just the dash section
So
we
you can
will
have some
take out.
access for the truck?
We didn't see the point in having to take it out, and we wondered if it was necessary. If we see a point to take it down, we certainly can, tin snips, take it down.
Yeah.
And we could certainly use those sections of fence for something else. But we didn't see the point having to
Sometimes
take
it's
it.
nice to be able to secure things that that might fall over and stuff. Something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
So it might be good to
Yeah.
keep it. That's what I was gonna suggest.
Cool. Well, yeah, we can move forward with that, bring in the planning commission, kind of get it more known in the government side of things, and then bring in public works too. I think we can make it happen.
Can I just update on Stoner's Tills retention basin? I mentioned things seem to be growing in the August meeting. Tried
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
supply some pics. I sent them to Evan, Eric, and Mike. And they're 2-foot tubes on each shrub. Of the 40 we put in, 37 were still alive last weekend. And you can see that more than half are already out of the tube. And when we put them in, they were all between 12 and 18 inches. So they've grown 50% since late April or early May when we put them in. And if we can keep them watered, I think that's going to be fine. I wouldn't say quite drought conditions, but we had very little water this summer. So the two pipes that bring water into the retention basin brought very little water in the summer. So we went out to water when we could. But we have a tote, we have a transfer pump, and 75 feet of hose. Gets it all done.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. That was a really good project. Do you know, it's not being mowed, right? The basin?
Looked like
It wasn't mowed until 10 days ago.
All right.
We had used a weed whacker around the immediate shrubs that we planted. Came in and did that twice, 3 times. But to a lot of people, I'm sure it looked like it was overgrown. The typical mentality is, if it doesn't look like a lawn, putting green, et cetera, somebody's not taking care of it. So they did mow it about 10 days ago.
Yeah, the pictures, it looked like it was mowed.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, if they want to mow it twice a year, something like that, okay, but a number of things growing in there are pollinators that were not invasives. There are some invasives, and we could pull some of those out. But it doesn't need to be mowed, probably shouldn't be mowed very often, if at all.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, it's probably like the worst time of year to mow like a meadow for like wildlife habitat and stuff. Yeah, you want to mow like really early spring. I guess you could do like a second mowing like late summer.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that with the public works guys, because
Yeah.
ideally they shouldn't be mowing that like more than twice a year.
I mean, Bonnie and I were out there a couple times in the summer, and we had lots of bees, and they weren't just on the shrubs we planted. They were on lots of the stuff that was there.
Yeah,
Some of the stuff, continues to grow from what was planted, 15 years ago. What was seeded, I should say, 15 years ago. And they had mowed over and over again on it, but still a lot of the stuff will come up.
okay. Yeah, I guess we're in the public comment section. Is there any other public comments from anyone?
Yeah, I think I raised it to Mike, because I saw him last week and I saw, two
Can you use the
trees-
microphone?
I keep forgetting.
That's fine.
Should I say I'm Dolores Lombardi? I live in Upper Darby. Two trees on the median of Westchester Pike and Kirkland Avenue, where it intersects. So I live there. Got maybe hit by a car or a truck or something, and they came down. They were trees that we planted in 2008, but they weren't huge trees. So I wanted to know if you could replace them this fall. And the nursery has, I was there at the tree tenders meeting last week, they're bursting with trees. So it's not gonna cost any money. Now, we could probably dig the holes ourselves and stick them in, except that the median used to be a trolley line. So you get down right and you hit shit. I have dug in it. It's hard. So if the township could auger the holes, it'd be a lot easier. But, so I'm just asking if you'll approve two trees to go in those spots. I could take pictures for you and email them to you of the spots. And I don't know if you have trees, but there's tons of trees in the nursery.
Yeah, we can add that to the long list of
Yeah, and
places
they can be
we're trying to
planted
put
anytime,
trees.
because since we're not picking up trees
Sure.
at, from PHS, which is in November, this could be done in October, maybe,
How
you
big
know?
were the trees that got knocked down?
They removed them.
How big were they though? What
Oh,
was-
they were like, I think they were both Juneberries, two Juneberry trees. There is room for a bigger tree though. So they were both smallish, medium trees. But in one spot, you could put a bigger tree. Anyway, I could take pictures and send them to you, and then you can figure it out. So. that
Yeah,
would-
that'd be great. We can check out this spot.
And then you could walk up and down, I mean, anytime you have a little extra time, there are still more spots on the median where we could stick some trees in. Given that the nursery has them, it's just a matter of getting the work done. But if they're gonna go out and auger two holes, maybe they could auger maybe 4 or 5 or 6 holes, and then we could put some trees in. It's up to you guys. And I would promise to watch those, at least those. I have been watching a couple trees on the median this summer, the ones that are in between St. Lawrence and Wawa's. It's just gotten so dry and through that heat.
Yeah,
2 of them wilted, and then I went back a couple days, they actually turned brown. But I watered them and they've come back. They had little spuds and they leafed out again, so I saved them and I've watered them about 4, maybe 5 times. Like, it's cooler now, but it's just still not raining. And a couple more trees are looking droopy. Some of the trees around here, around the municipal building, as I drove, they're getting droopy. Maybe you are watering them, but we had all that heat, very little rain, and it's cooler now, but still no rain, so. But I would watch those trees myself and water them.
gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll add that to the list. Now this list is getting long. Steven, do you have any idea like how many large trees in the nursery are available to plant? Just like a rough estimate.
Try to go through the list. At the moment, The 3 red oaks, the 2 scarlet oaks are about 8 feet tall. We have about 4 sweet gums that are 10 feet tall. These are in bags, easily transported, get them out of the ground. We have quite a few smaller ones. We have about 6 silver maples that are 6 feet. We have a number of smaller red buds, et cetera. Then we have a variety of these things that we just got in a donation. There were 5 15-gallon pots, river birches. There were 4 swamp white oaks. There were 2 hornbeams. We gave one of the hornbeams to Prospect Park. They had asked for that. And they also got a river birch and a swamp oak.
Oh, that's
Then we
good.
have
Did
a
they pick
couple
up
of other
those?
things.
Did they pick up those 3 trees?
Yeah, they
already?
picked them up already.
Okay, that's good.
Then we also have a couple of honey locusts that are large. We have the 2 gala apples. We have a couple hornbeams. No, sorry. Black cherries, they're smaller. They're about 8 feet now, so they're getting pretty full grown. Then we have all the seedlings, that are about 3 feet to 4 feet. We have red maples and silver maples and honey locusts and red oaks, river birches. We have 12 river birches that are 6 feet. And then oodles and oodles of shrubs. Some of these are escaping me now.
No, that's fine. That's helpful
Huh?
for when we're trying to plan all this out, just so I have like a better idea of what we have. But yeah, that's helpful. Is there anything else? Anyone else have any questions, comments? No? All right. It was a quick meeting. Easy enough.
Easy enough.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second the emotion.
All right.
Emotion, the
Anyone
emotion.
opposed?
Sound like I said.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.